One day you'll look back at your life and wonder, what if? What if you had made that decision? What if you had taken that chance? What if you had invested more in yourself? Let me tell you something powerful. Of all regrets people have at the end of their lives, you'll never hear someone say, I wish I hadn't worked so hard on becoming a better person. No one ever regrets genuine self-improvement. They regret the opposite. The opportunities missed, the growth avoided, the potential left dormant. The most valuable asset you have is not in your bank account. It's not your house, your car, or any possession you can touch. The most valuable asset you have is you. You are the one thing you'll have your entire life. Your mind, your abilities, your character. These stay with you wherever you go. And yet, how many of us invest more in our cars than in our minds? How many spend more time planning vacations than planning personal growth? I learned this lesson early. For things to change, you have to change. For things to get better, you have to get better. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. When you work on yourself, you're working on the one thing that can improve everything else in your life. Let me ask you, if someone gave you $1 million, would that solve all your problems? Maybe for a while. But if you don't have the wisdom to manage it, you'll lose it. If you don't have the character to handle it, it might even destroy you. We've all seen lottery winners who end up broke within years. Why? Because their bank accounts grew while they stayed the same. Your level of success will rarely exceed your level of personal development. Income seldom exceeds personal growth. That's why focusing on yourself first is not selfish. It's necessary. It's the foundation everything else is built upon. The moment you decide to truly work on yourself, you've made one of the most important decisions of your life. It's the moment you decide to stop blaming circumstances and start taking responsibility. It's when you shift from being a consumer of life to becoming a producer of your destiny. Personal responsibility is the starting point of all achievement. Nothing significant happens until you decide that you are responsible for your life in every way. The day you stop blaming the economy, your upbringing, your boss, your spouse, or the weather is the day your life begins to change. I always tell people, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems, wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge, wish for more wisdom. The challenges in life don't go away when you ignore them. They go away when you grow stronger than they are. This means understanding a fundamental truth. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you success on a silver platter. The cavalry isn't coming. You are the cavalry. You are the solution to your challenges. When you fully accept this truth, something remarkable happens. You stop waiting and start creating. You stop complaining and start acting. You stop hoping for a better future and start building one. Look at successful people in any field. They don't have fewer problems than others. They've just developed themselves to handle bigger problems. They've grown into their challenges rather than shrinking from them. I had a friend who always complained about his job. Every day, he'd talk about how his boss didn't appreciate him, how his coworkers didn't respect him, how the company didn't pay him enough. For years, this went on. Then one day I asked him, what have you done to become more valuable to your company? He looked at me blankly. He had spent years focusing on what his company should do for him, not what he could do to grow. The next week, he enrolled in a course to upgrade his skills. Within 6 months, he got a promotion. Within a year, he was managing his own team. What changed? Not the company. He did. He took responsibility for his growth and everything else followed. The greatest gift you can give yourself is the commitment to lifelong improvement. Because when you stop growing, you start dying. There's no standing still in life. You're either moving forward or sliding backward. This is where small daily disciplines come into play. Massive success doesn't require massive action all at once. It requires small, smart choices repeated day after day. It's the compound effect of consistency over time. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day. Failure is simply a few errors in judgment repeated every day. It is the accumulative weight of our disciplines and our judgments that leads us to either fortune or failure. Think about it this way. If you improve yourself just one every day for a year, you'll end up 37 times better by the end. Not 365 better, 37 times better, because growth compounds when applied consistently. That's the miracle of compound interest applied to your personal development. Or if you read just 10 pages of a good book every day, in a year, you'll have read 3,650 pages. That's about 18 books. How would your life change if you absorbed the wisdom from 18 good books this year? What if you did that for 5 years? Small disciplines in your health, relationships, finances, emotions, and time management don't seem significant on any given day. You won't see results immediately. That's why most people give up. They can't see the connection between their actions today and their results tomorrow. Missing one workout doesn't seem like a big deal. Skipping one day of reading doesn't appear significant. Giving into your temper once doesn't look devastating. But these small decisions shape your destiny. If you skip physical activity for a day, nothing happens. If you skip it for a week, you might feel a little guilty. Skip it for a month, and you'll notice a difference. Skip it for a year, and you've completely changed the trajectory of your health. The same applies to every area of self-improvement. The danger of neglect is that it doesn't suddenly destroy you. It gradually erodes your potential day by day, making it hard to connect the dots between your choices and your outcomes. I had a conversation with a gentleman who couldn't understand why he was $30,000 in debt. I asked him, "How did you get $30,000 in debt?" He said, "I don't know." All of a sudden, it's $30,000. I said, "No, it didn't happen all of a sudden. How much was it a year ago?" He said, "I don't know, maybe 28. I asked, "How much was it 2 years ago?" He said, "Maybe 25. 3 years ago, about 20,000. 4 years ago, 15,000. I said, "There you go. It didn't happen all of a sudden. What happened was, bit by bit, day by day, month by month, you spent a little more than you earned consistently for many years. That's how you got $30,000 in debt." The magic of self-improvement works the same way, but in your favor, day by day, decision by decision, you build the life you want. Not dramatically, not overnight, but gradually and certainly. There's a common misconception that working on yourself is a luxury, something you do when everything else is taken care of. Nothing could be further from the truth. Self-improvement isn't a luxury. It's the most practical investment you can make. Consider such, there are 2 ways to have the best house in the neighborhood. One way is to buy the biggest, most expensive house. The other way is to work on yourself until you can afford any house you want. There are 2 ways to have a nice car. One way is to go into debt to buy it. The other way is to develop yourself until affording that car is easy. There are 2 ways to reduce your stress about money. One way is to get more money. The other way is to develop yourself so that making and managing money becomes natural to you. You see the pattern? External pursuits. Things, status, possessions can be acquired in 2 ways. By stretching beyond your means or by growing into them naturally through personal development. The first approach leads to stress, debt, and constant worry. The second approach leads to authentic achievement, peace of mind, and lasting success. One is a shortcut that leads to a dead end. The other is a path that leads to unlimited potential. Some people go through life buying things they don't need, with money they don't have, to impress people they don't like. They focus on the external while neglecting the internal. But what good is a fancy car if you're miserable inside it? What good is a big house if you haven't developed the character to enjoy it? I'm not saying material success isn't important. I'm saying that it's a byproduct of personal growth, not a substitute for it. When you invest in yourself, the material things come naturally. And more importantly, you develop the character to handle them well. Let me share something that changed my perspective. When I was younger, I thought success was about accumulating. Now I know it's about becoming. It's not what you get that makes you valuable. It's what you become in the process. The real reward of success isn't the money. It's the person you become on the journey. What you become is far more valuable than what you get. The size of the challenge you conquer isn't nearly as important as the size of the person you become in conquering it. This brings us to an important truth. There's a direct relationship between your growth and your success. Your income, your relationships, your influence, your happiness. They're all reflections of you. They can't exceed your personal development for long. If you want a better career, become better. If you want better relationships, become better. If you want more happiness, become better. Your external world will always be a reflection of your internal world. I remember talking to someone who complained that opportunities never came his way. I never get a break, he said. I asked him, if opportunity comes, are you prepared? I said, opportunity doesn't just knock on your door. It knocks on the doors of those who have prepared themselves to recognize and seize it. Preparation precedes opportunity. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. The more you work on yourself, the luckier you seem to get. Consider two employees at the same company. One spends evenings watching television. The other spends evenings learning new skills. When a promotion becomes available, who do you think will be ready for it? Is that luck? No, it's preparation. Consider two business owners. One invests only in his business. The other invests in his business and himself. When the market changes, who adapts more quickly? When new challenges arise, who has the wisdom to overcome them? The one who continuously works on himself. Your level of success will rarely exceed your level of personal development because success is something you attract by the person you become. If you want more success, focus on your personal growth. If you grow, everything else in your life will grow with you. This doesn't mean the path of self-improvement is always easy. In fact, any worthwhile personal growth involves overcoming resistance, both external and internal. External resistance comes from the environment, from other people, from circumstances beyond your control. Internal resistance comes from within, your fears, doubts, old habits, and limiting beliefs. The greatest barrier to your growth isn't the world around you. It's the voice within you that says you can't. It's the part of you that clings to comfort even at the cost of your dreams. It's the part that chooses immediate pleasure over long-term fulfillment. Working on yourself means confronting this resistance daily. It means choosing discomfort now for growth later. It means pushing through the initial difficulty of new habits until they become second nature. When you start a new exercise routine, the first few weeks are hard. Your body aches, your mind resists. Everything in you wants to go back to the comfort of inactivity. This is when most people quit, right before the breakthrough. Same applies to reading challenging books, learning new skills, having difficult conversations, or building a business. The beginning is always the hardest part because you're fighting against the momentum of old habits and the discomfort of new growth. Here's what happens if you push through. The resistance weakens. What was once difficult becomes manageable. What was once manageable becomes easy. What was once easy becomes enjoyable. And then one day, you can't imagine living any other way. I once spoke with a man who transformed his life through daily reading. He told me the first month was torture. I'd stare at the pages, check the clock, find excuses to stop. Now, 3 years later, I can't fall asleep without reading. What was once my greatest struggle has become my greatest joy. That's how personal growth works. The obstacle is the way. The resistance you feel is not your enemy, it's your opportunity. Each time you push through it, you become stronger. Each time you overcome it, you expand your capacity for future growth. Remember this, everyone wants to improve, but few are willing to pay the price. The price is pushing through resistance. The price is temporary discomfort. The price is doing what's difficult until it becomes easy. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year. They try to change everything at once, become overwhelmed, and give up entirely. Sustainable growth doesn't work that way. Creating lasting change requires understanding how habits form and how they can be changed systematically. It's not about motivation. It's about method. Motivation is fleeting. Systems endure. The key to lasting change is creating systems that make good choices easier and poor choices harder. It's about designing your environment to support your growth rather than sabotage it. If you want to read more, Keep books visible around your house. If you want to eat healthier, stock your kitchen with nutritious foods and remove the junk. If you want to exercise regularly, lay out your workout clothes the night before. These environmental cues make good habits more automatic. Another crucial element of lasting change is identity. Lasting behavior change starts with changing how you see yourself. If you see yourself as someone who is trying to read more, that's different from seeing yourself as a reader. One is an activity, the other is identity. When a habit becomes part of your identity, you no longer need as much willpower to maintain it. You're not pushing against who you are. You're acting in alignment with who you believe yourself to be. This is why affirmations alone don't work. Saying, "I am successful," when all evidence in your life contradicts, this creates cognitive dissonance. Instead, start with small wins that reinforce a new identity. Each small victory says, "This is who I am becoming." Think about it this way. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. Each time you study instead of procrastinating, you're voting for being studious. Each time you work out despite not feeling like it, you're voting for being disciplined. These votes accumulate over time into a new self-image. The beauty of this approach is that it focuses on systems rather than goals. Goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. Goals are good for setting direction, but systems are best for making progress. If you completely ignored your goals and focused only on your system, would you still succeed? For example, if you were a basketball coach and you ignored your goal to win a championship and focused only on what your team does in practice each day, would you still get results? I believe you would. Goals are good for planning your progress, and systems are good for actually making progress. Goals can provide direction and even push you forward, but systems ultimately determine your progress. Commit to the process and the results will take care of themselves. Fall in love with the daily practice, not just the outcomes you seek, because the secret to getting results that last is to never stop making improvements. It's remarkable what you can build if you don't stop. One of the most powerful systems for personal growth is continuous learning. In a world of constant change, the only security is the ability to learn and adapt. Your formal education may end, but your education should never end. The most valuable skill is not any specific technique or knowledge base. The most valuable skill is knowing how to learn. When you know how to learn, you can adapt to any situation, master any subject, and overcome any obstacle. Reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body. It's the gymnasium where you train your thinking, expand your vocabulary, and develop your perspective. The books you don't read won't help you. The seminars you don't attend won't change you. The courses you don't take won't transform you. I often tell people, don't let your learning lead to knowledge. Let your learning lead to action. Knowledge without application is like having money in the bank but never spending it. It's potential without kinetic energy. It's possibility without reality. The world doesn't pay you for what you know. It pays you for what you do with what you know. Turn your learning into earning by applying what you study. Take that book you just read and implement one idea from it today. Take that seminar you attended and use one strategy this week. Be a student, not a follower. Don't just absorb information passively. Engage with it critically. Ask questions, test ideas, compare perspectives, form your own conclusions. The goal is not to collect information, but to develop wisdom, the ability to make good decisions based on knowledge and experience. Some people read a book and say, "I've read that," but have they absorbed it? Have they applied it? Have they made it part of their life? Reading without reflection is like eating without digestion. It can feel satisfying in the moment, but it provides no lasting nourishment. Take time to reflect on what you learn. Keep a journal. Discuss ideas with others. Teach what you learn. Teaching is one of the best ways to deepen your understanding. When you can explain a concept to someone else, you truly understand it. Make learning a daily discipline, not an occasional event. 10 pages a day is better than 100 pages on Sunday. Consistent, moderate learning creates lasting change. Sporadic, intensive learning creates temporary enthusiasm. Remember that all learning has a half-life. What you learned last year is already partially obsolete. The only solution is continuous education, staying current, remaining curious, and embracing the mindset of a lifelong student. While skills and knowledge are important, there's something even more fundamental to your success and fulfillment: your character. Character is the foundation upon which all other self-improvement efforts rest. You can have all the skills in the world, but without integrity, they'll eventually fail you. You can have all the knowledge available, but without discipline, you won't apply it consistently. You can have all the opportunities imaginable, but without courage, you won't seize them. Character is what you do when no one is watching. It's the set of qualities that determine how you interact with the world and respond to challenges. It's your moral compass, your personal code, your essential nature. The good news is that character can be developed. Like any other aspect of yourself, it can be improved through conscious effort and consistent practice. You can become more honest, more disciplined, more compassionate, more resilient if you make these qualities a priority. Start by identifying the character traits you most admire and value. Is it honesty, perseverance, kindness, courage? Once you've identified these core values, look for small, daily opportunities to practice them. If you value honesty, practice telling the truth even in small matters. If you value discipline, keep the promises you make to yourself. If you value courage, do one thing each day that scares you. If you value compassion, look for opportunities to help others without expecting anything in return. Over time, these small choices form deep grooves in your character. They become your default responses to life's challenges. They become who you are, not just what you do. Remember that reputation is what others think about you, but character is who you truly are. Reputation can be manufactured. Character must be developed. Reputation is about perception. Character is about reality. In the long run, your character determines your destiny more than any other factor. It determines how you handle success and failure, wealth and poverty, praise and criticism. It determines whether you rise or fall when faced with temptation. It determines whether people trust you enough to follow where you lead. Building character is the ultimate form of self-improvement because it strengthens not just one area of your life, but all of them. When you improve your character, you improve everything you touch. When you work on yourself, the effects extend far beyond your own life. Personal development creates a ripple effect that touches everyone around you, often in ways you'll never fully know. Think about it. When you become more patient, your relationships improve. When you become more skilled, your work improves. When you become more disciplined, your health improves. When you become more generous, your community improves. You cannot improve yourself without improving the lives of those around you. You cannot grow without creating the conditions for others to grow. You cannot transform without creating the possibility for others to transform. This ripple effect works in several ways. First, you become an example. People see what's possible through your growth. Your cousin sees you reading daily and thinks, maybe I could do that too. Your coworker notices your new confidence and thinks, I wonder how I could develop that. Second, you become more valuable. As you grow in knowledge, skills, and character, you have more to offer others. You become a better parent, partner, friend, colleague, leader, and community member. Your capacity to serve increases with your personal development. Third, you create a culture of growth around you. Your commitment to improvement inspires others to improve. Your questions stimulate new thinking. Your progress challenges others to progress. I once met a woman who transformed her health through daily walking and better nutrition. Within a year, her husband and 2 close friends had joined her. Within 2 years, they had started a community walking group. Within 3 years, they had influenced dozens of people to improve their health, all from one person's decision to work on herself. This is how personal growth becomes a force for positive change in the world. It starts with you, but doesn't end with you. It creates a cascade of improvement that extends far beyond your immediate circumstances. And here's the beautiful part. This ripple effect continues long after you're gone. The wisdom you gain and share, the examples you set, the people you influence, these create legacies that outlast your lifetime. Your personal growth becomes part of something larger than yourself. So when you invest in yourself, you're not being selfish, you're being responsible. You're not just improving your life, you're improving the world around you. You're creating value that extends beyond yourself. Let me bring all this together. The decision to work on yourself is the most important decision you'll ever make because it influences every other decision. It determines not just what you have, but who you become. And who you become determines the quality of your life. The beauty of self-improvement is that it's always available to you, regardless of your circumstances. You don't need special permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need anyone's approval. You just need to decide and begin. Start small. Choose one area of your life to improve. Break it down into manageable daily actions. Be patient with the process. Trust that small, consistent efforts will compound over time. Celebrate your progress, but never be satisfied with where you are. Remember that self-improvement isn't about reaching a destination. It's about engaging in a lifelong journey. There is no finish line, no point at which you can say, I'm done growing. As long as you're breathing, there's room to improve, capacity to develop, potential to fulfill. The truth is, you'll never regret working on yourself. You'll regret the times you didn't, the books you didn't read, the skills you didn't develop, the risks you didn't take, the growth you postponed. Don't add to those regrets. Start today. Start now. Years from now, you'll look back at this moment as either the time you began to take yourself seriously or another missed opportunity. Which will it be? The choice is yours. The time is now. The person is you. Your future is created by what you do today, not tomorrow. Your habits are creating your future. Your disciplines are determining your destiny. Every day, with every choice, you are writing the story of your life. Make it a story worth telling. Make it a life without regrets. Make the decision today that your future self will thank you for commit to working on yourself. It's the one investment that never fails, the one effort that's always worth it, the one improvement that changes everything else. You have untapped potential waiting to be developed, unrealized capabilities ready to be strengthened, unfinished growth eager to be completed. Don't leave your potential on the table. Don't settle for less than you're capable of becoming. You are your most valuable asset. Invest accordingly, develop consistently, grow deliberately, and watch as everything in your life transforms as a result. The opportunity is before you. The choice is yours. What will you do with it?